Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, obviously, I want to thank Economic Times for inviting me here. And always a pleasure to come to Rajasthan and talk to people, particularly who are entrepreneurial. I learned the earlier session, it was very interesting. And glad to see so many young people are now becoming entrepreneurs. I'll tell you my story in short. And maybe I told Saurabh it would be better I leave some time for Q&A because it would be good to answer questions people have in mind. You know, I am born and brought up in Jodhpur. My entire education was in Jodhpur. I did my graduation in commerce back in 1964. And then I opted for the course of Chartered Accountants course, which is, you know, most dear to most Rajasthanis. You know, and more Jodhpuris. They want to become chartered accountant. That's what course I followed. So I became chartered accountant and I was the gold medalist in 1966 examination. And then I started my career initially with DCM Limited. It was known as Delhi Cloth General Mills Limited. At that time when I started my career, two companies were the best employers in India, DCM and Hindustan Lever. And they offered the senior management trainee's job. And I was fortunate that the first job which I got offered was DCM. And I didn't have any hesitation in accepting that. I worked there for about 4.5 years, primarily in finance accounts area. I wanted to always get into a bigger area. And then the opportunity came to join a new company called Swadeshi Polytechs Limited. This was to start the manufacturing of polyester fiber. At that time, there was great demand for that product, but not available. Also, there was a licensing raj. Now, many of you would not have heard or even perhaps comprehend what it was. To do everything, you have to take a license. To start manufacturing something, then you want to import something, you get a license. So everything was under some or the other licensing. So Swadeshi Polytechs was a new company, a greenfield company, right from land acquisition to the establishment of the ordering of the equipment, setting of the company. There I was the CEO of the commercial functions. That's how I spent 2.5 years. And then I came, met Mr. Aditya Birla, and I moved to Birla Group, the company called Indian Rayon, which has later on, got merged with Grasim. It was known as Aditya Birla Nuvo. So I started in that company as vice president, worked for 4 years and vice president, finance and works, the manufacturing as such. And this was based at Verawal. You might not have heard the name of the town, but you know where the Somnath temple is. That's where I worked for 4 years. Then I was moved to Calcutta to look after, that's the first time when I became a business head. I was to look after a textile unit there called Jayashree Textiles. I looked after that for 4 years. During that period, there were many difficult businesses in Birla Group, and I was selected to turn around. So I sort of became a turnaround specialist in the group with Mr. Aditya Birla. And then since we are growing, and I was also the CFO besides being the business head there, we were looking for more opportunity. That's where we identified the cement as the opportunity. So I was fortunate enough to set up the first cement plant of Aditya Birla Group. So what you see Ultratech today was the beginning I had made in 1982, set up the plant in Karnataka, and then kept on expanding that. Also being from Jodhpur and Rajasthan, always interested to do something Rajasthan. That was always on my mind, and that's where I thought of setting up a white cement plant. As you might aware, Birla White is the well-known brand in the white cement. Also for your information, first time the word Birla was used in the product was Birla White. Birlas were very hesitant to use their name because at that time they were not known for such a quality as starters were known at that time. But that was a change which we did. First time we created Birla White as a brand, and then cement, we did the Rajastri cement, Birla Super. I also manufactured the first time a new product of 53 grade cement, those who are maybe knowing something about it. So we always created more and more innovation. Then I set up the financial services business for Birla Group in late 80s. Also, I set up the Birla Mutual Fund. So that was the story for about 27 years. I was working as a professional employee, rose to become the senior president of Indian Rayon in 1982, and for 12 years I set up various different businesses. Then, fortunate enough to get an opportunity to become member of Bombay Stock Exchange. You know, stock markets were relatively unknown at that time, and they wanted to take professionals. At that time, you know, the cost of buying a seat on Bombay Stock Exchange used to be 2 crores or plus crores. Obviously, as you know, many of you have been professionals. It's very hard to accumulate that sort of money in any job which you do. And at that time, the compensation packages were very, very low. They were not great as they are today. So then, we got the membership in 93, and then 94, I decided to start on my own. So what you see, I started with 20-member team in 1994, and started with the investment banking and the broking business, and gradually grew up those businesses set up in last 30 years. We set up the insurance broking, we set up commodity broking, we set up the wealth management, we set up the digital wealth management, many other segments, but all under financial services. So, and each business, the objective was very clear, that we want to be one of the top 3 to 5 players in India. We don't want to be small players in any business which we're in. And fortunately, I think most of our businesses are already in that league or going to be in that league. That's what. Today we have about 5,000 people in the entire group across various businesses. And, wealth management is one company which we have taken public. Perhaps many of you who are relevant to stock market might be knowing about. We took this company public in December 2021, about 2.5 years back. We sold our shares at 550 rupees one share. Today it's close to 4,000. So it has grown 7 times in last 2.5 years. So one of the fastest growing stock in market. And once you make a company public, your brand becomes better known. One thing I've done, I've never spent so far money on branding. I believe that customers are our brand ambassadors. If you have satisfied customers, that really, makes your company bigger and bigger. So that has been my short journey. And when I started this business, and all through my life, 3 core values, friends, which I have always pursued and followed. One, create an enterprise organization of entrepreneurs. I did that in Birla Group also. I thought that everybody who has come in the company must be entrepreneur. You must feel that this is your own company. And what is the difference between being an entrepreneur and an executive? That an entrepreneur sets his own targets. So on all my companies, the process is that every person sets their own targets. We don't give targets from the top at all. And we won't encourage. What we help them is to first fixing targets, how to think more challenging targets, and then how to achieve them. That's where our role comes in. The second philosophy, we have a family culture that everybody as our employees a family. Not only that, even customers. We believe that the promoters, the employees, and customers are one family because their interests are purely aligned, and therefore we believe in that policy. And third, key philosophy was that we will be very ethical, which means we'll be always customer-centric. So all the businesses we do, we first make sure whether the customer is making money or gaining something. We don't want to make money at the customer. So these 3 core values, friends, have helped us to grow to the level we are today, and I'm sure the growth is going to be tremendous. You know, all businesses, most businesses, and particularly financial services business, is still a sunrise industry. You know, when I decided to come into that industry, obviously most people thought that I was doing a harakari, you know, what a bad decision I'm making, that being a CEO of a good company in Birla Group, I'm leaving that job and starting, you know, I started with just 500 square feet, 20 people team. So people thought at that time my office used to be more than 500 square feet in Birla Group. But that's where I think, the opportunities are great. Even today, this business is a sunrise business. Next 20 years, 25 years, India is going to be great. Today, if you are even 4 trillion economy, imagine what would be the size of this business when we become 25, 30, 40 trillion economy. So I think there's a great opportunity. What I would like to be with, the common things which I would like to share, that what makes people succeed. Challenges will always come, but I think first of all, there has to be an ambition. There has to be aspiration. You know, every entrepreneur has an aspiration. That's why they could do it. Okay, and aspiration has to be supported by perspiration, hard work. Okay. So formula which new join is, I always believe that I take people young, train them, and give them positions. So most of the senior positions are always filled in from within. That's what our philosophy followed. So I tell the young boys and girls when they join, friends, if you want to achieve 100% success, 1% is your aspiration, 99% is perspiration. If you work hard, there is no reason that you will not succeed. That's very important. So first of all, you have to aspire to think big. You know, you have to desire to succeed. There has to be innate desire. The problems will come, always challenges will come, and that's where I think I think one of the questions earlier asked was that, you know, there are a lot of problems when you start business. Yes, but one has to have a positive mindset. My belief is every problem which comes brings many solutions along with it. There is no problem which is not normally solvable. But the other way is, I say, why worry if problem is not solvable at all? And why worry if it is solvable? If it is solvable, I think, but my experience in life is, you face a challenge, you face a problem, don't call it a failure. You know, many people are क्या fail हो जाएंगे क्या करेंगे? भैया failure नहीं है. Failure is the stage, you know, the step to succeed. You will face challenges, you will face difficulties. Think positive mind at that side. If you think positive, you look at the possible solutions, okay? And then surely some will work, may not work to begin with. You know, there is always a refinement. There is always a improvement of what you think. And that's very important. Another thing which I learned is that you have to keep on learning always. The business, the world is dynamic. The situation is dynamic. So if you don't learn, then you will be left behind. And therefore, one is you learn of your experience. Obviously, when you work every day, you'll have some experience to learn. But also very important to continue to do some continuous learning through the books, or, you know, learning through the courses, whatever. I believe that books are the best way to learn. I think I always tell my people that at least learn and read one book a month. That should be minimum. And what I do, friends, you know, to create that family culture which I mentioned, I send a monthly communication to all my employees. And one of the things I communicate in my communication is a book to read. And why I do it? Because it forces me to read 2 books a month. So at least I can recommend one. And that's what learning is key. You know, at no point of time your learning will end. I can talk many things, but I think, few things. One more important thing is the time management. I think that's very critical. One is the time management for health and time management for your profession or business which you're in. So I think both are very important. पहला सुख निरोगी काया कहावत है. First, you have to be healthy to succeed. And a good mind or good brain exists in a healthy body. You know, that's very important. So I think very important part is the time management. If you can do an excellent time management, that's what I believe, then Time is not short. Many times I hear people saying, "अरे साहब समय नहीं है, time ही नहीं है." My belief is God has given so much of time to us. Many days I find I don't have anything to do, you know. Maybe even if you sleep 7, 8 hours, 16 hours a day is good enough. I think so. I think those who can manage their time well will never find shortage of time. You can always succeed. I think I believe the purpose of my being here was to share my, experience in a short time. One more thing, last thing which I want to add is the focus. The concentration, which is today one of the big challenges is concentration. Okay, I think concentration helps you achieve anything. My own experience when I did my CA course in Jodhpur, there was no help available. There was no coaching. There was no nothing. You have to read on your own. It was a self-study course. There was no college to go and study. And I found that if you focus on anything, concentrate, learning is much faster. Anything which you do. So I think today, while the knowledge has become vast, today in fact there is a digital, I think, deluge. There's too much of knowledge available. So need to decide what knowledge do you want to acquire. You can't acquire the whole knowledge of the world. So I think that if you focus on a thing, and that's where I don't recommend multitasking to people. कि एक काम कर रहे हैं, दूसरा साथ कर रहे हैं, तीसरा साथ कर रहे हैं, then you can't, number one, solve the problem rightly, and also you take ultimately much longer time to go through that process. So my belief is, these 6, 7 things which I believe are important to succeed in life. I thought I'll share with you in short term. I know already the program is late. I don't want to delay it, so I'll leave some time if it's available for any question answer which you people will like.
Hello, sir. I'm Ravi Agrawal. I specially came for this event from Delhi. Rajasthan have a 50 plus districts, and almost every district headquarter have a multiple coaching institutes for IIT, NEET, other kind of coachings. So how can we make a startup ecosystem in Rajasthan so at least we can have a 20 plus startups at every district headquarter at least? So it can be a good opportunity generator. It can create so much employment at a rural level, especially in Rajasthan. So migration to cities will stop, and Rajasthan will become automatically a prosperous state compared to southern states. Because southern states have so much ecosystem, a world. So there are so many manufacturers, even best example in this Joho, Sridhar Bamboo, and so many manufacturing companies are there. So how can we create that? You belongs to Jodhpur kind of city. Now it is making a big ecosystem there, but how can we evolve at a multiple district headquarters level? So
thank you, Mr. Agarwal, for coming all the way from Delhi to listen to me. I'm grateful to you. I think, basically, as we all know, Marwadis are known to be entrepreneurs, I think Rajasthan में तो हर आदमी में entrepreneurship तो घुसी बहुत है. I think what is needed is obviously some more support which you need at the regulatory or government level, because now I'm very glad the Economic Times in this conference have invited almost every secretary of government of Rajasthan. My belief, Mr. Agarwal, is rightly so that there is so much of opportunity in services sector. Why we were left behind and why, like you said, South Bangalore or Tamil Nadu went, because they allowed private colleges of engineering to grow much faster than we allowed in Rajasthan. As a result, people from Rajasthan migrated to do their, engineering courses, particularly to Karnataka, Andhra, and Tamil Nadu. Keeping that, because I'm from Rajasthan, I love Jodhpur. I've set up the IT company in Jodhpur. Okay, basically, I know in Jodhpur, 1,200, engineering graduates or MCAs are produced. But where are the job opportunities? So I've created today, in Rajasthan, entire Rajasthan. Why can't it become the IT center? If you go anywhere, how many people from Rajasthan are working in these IT companies all over the country? The opportunities are great. Then trading center, big trading center. We are a big agricultural, state, and more enterprising. So I agree with you, Mr. Agarwal. All we need is more Rajasthanis who have gone out to have more interest in Rajasthan. There are more problems. I've set up Birla White, I told you. The amount of problems I had to go through Setting up industries I've set up in UP, I've set up in Calcutta, I've set up in Bangalore. The most difficult experience was Rajasthan. But things are changing. Hopefully, so if the combination of the government support and entrepreneurship, there is no business which cannot be done in Rajasthan. So I'm sure your wishes will come true, Mr. Agrawal. Thank you for the
We
question.
can take one more question. One more question we can take. I think the gentleman at the back, उन्होंने पहले हाथ उठाया था. Can we please?
Madam, allow one more if you like. Okay.
Okay, definitely, sir.
Yeah.
Pramod Agarwal,
Yeah.
Conceptual Creation Consulting, Agra.
Yeah.
We consult the people to develop the business, to establish the business, to go for different opportunities which come on the way on Pan India. Your journey is so much inspired, and the topics you have raised are very, very inspiring and learnable to all. Your journey to climate change, which is the future, and I think if you think on going to climate change kind of initiative, Pan India, I think you can do wonders and you can contribute the nation for the coming generations. What do you think about climate change and renewable energy sector if you enter into this? Thank you.
I think obviously climate change is very important for us to, the time of climate we are living in today is so difficult. People living in Delhi or Bombay, we are living in, many times we feel we better come back to Jodhpur or maybe go to a smaller town and live there, because from health angle, we are facing that problem. But since you talked of renewable energy, I think that is where the Rajasthan has the greatest opportunity to, and already we are leading in there. I think I had also some experience in that. I try to set up, so I have still in my mind to set up solar power plants. I've owned some lands for there. In the most famous place in Rajasthan is BAP. That's where the most solar companies are coming. Because, the moment we get batteries to store the solar energy, you will see vast change in the way energy is produced in India. Today, we are forced to consume coal-based power plant because, solar power is available only during the day. In the night, you need to. So, a lot of work is happening on batteries, and I'll recommend that since you're recommending people, think of that also. Batteries business is going to be great. Solar power is going to be great. Even every house, now the government has announced that every house they will give to produce 300 units. I think solar is going to be a game changer, and we must thank our Prime Minister. He is visionary on this. He has thought of very, very large installations of solar power. Thanks for the question. Yeah.
One more question. I think the gentleman who was standing up in blue or grey shirt. Yes. Can we please pass on the mic there?
So my name is Devram. I've come back from Bangalore, and it's been 3 years. I'm working in the rural area on agriculture and farming. So what I see is there is a lot of potential. There is a lot of growth. There is a lot of space that is available in Rajasthan, especially in the rural areas. And I've been trying to motivate people. Like most of the people I know from our community, I have a business background. So everyone is afraid to invest back in, the native land of, that is Rajasthan, and the rural areas when there is potential also. So their fear is, will it work or not? So how do we motivate all these people who have migrated from the rural areas and from Rajasthan and gone to various parts of the country to do business, to actually again invest back here and develop businesses here, which will in return raise Rajasthan to maybe the topmost productive state in the country.
Good question. I think, agriculture, why didn't, earlier in Rajasthan become bigger? Because we were known to be desert area, so Registan hai. We didn't have enough rains. But things have changed. Since the Pokhran nuclear test has happened, there is a big climate change in Rajasthan. Now you have floods in Jaisalmer, in Bardmer, where there used to be 2 inches, 3 inches rain in a year. So So things are changing, and my belief is Rajasthan is still is quite backward in terms of agricultural, development. I can tell you my experience as a part of our CSR activity. We have adopted some villages in Pali district, and we are doing change. I believe that the agricultural productivity can be multiplied manifold. The water is, the absorption of water during rainy season or creating water tanks. There are so many government schemes which are known to agriculturists. One thing I'll recommend all the entrepreneurs who are from Rajasthan, at least help in their villages or nearby villages to bring them the benefit and have some people, key people to take care of this agricultural development. Last few years, whatever we are doing, I've seen, every 3 years, in the same land with the same resources, the income can be doubled at least for agriculture. There's a great lot of scope. I think some investment people can always take risk. If you have made a lot of wealth staying out of Rajasthan, we can always bring 5%, 2%, 10% of that wealth which you have created back to here and take the risk. Initially there will be a problem, but as we are entrepreneurs, my belief is every business can be made successful. I think the moment your mind is positive that you want to achieve success, you will achieve success. There's a book which changed my life. I read was, normally you say seeing is believing. जब कुछ देखेंगे तो विश्वास करेंगे, नहीं तो कैसे करेंगे? The title of the other book which I read was, if you believe it, you will see it. Okay, so read that book if you haven't. I think it changed your mindset completely. So thank you so much.